Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading for the month of November here at the Intuitive Teacup. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself. If the messages that come through don't resonate for you, feel free to push them aside. You may want to revisit them at a later date or time. Tarot sometimes makes more sense in the future. You are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. This is optional advice, guidance, and energy check-in. Let's set the intention to get you some clear, helpful, insightful messages here today. And we are going to hop in. I highly advise that you guys check your rising sign, in addition to your sun sign, of course. I'm going to throw in a little bits of astrology here and there, and that's going to relate more to your rising sign. So if you're Virgo rising, you're definitely in the right place. Of course, anyone is welcome in this reading. Okay, bottom of your deck is the High Priestess, which I feel it's like, you got a secret. There's a secret. I don't know why I'm getting that. I just am. The High Priestess is very intuitive. It's typically feminine energy, right? Ruled by the moon, strongly connected to Cancerian energy. So kind of a strong psychic connection, the great healer, the great emotional feeler, sometimes connected to motherhood or our own mothers, a need to mother ourselves. And sort of, the keeper of wisdom, but it's much more passive. It's not sort of this, this fiery need to express and share. It's like information that's sometimes withheld and oftentimes held within us. You are the answer to your own problems, so to say, or you hold the wisdom, hold the knowledge. So we'll see how that factors into this. There could be an important storyline with your mother, possibly. So let's start. You are coming off in your first house. You have the Four of Swords. So that's sort of how you present yourself this month. So ironically, there's two messages here. It could either be that you're coming off very rested and very chilled. Maybe you took some time off to do some healing work with this Three of Swords. And now you're kind of like, okay, I've hit reset. I'm ready to tackle the next big thing. Others of you, it could be very chill, very meditative, not sort of that kinetic Virgo Mercury energy that can sometimes be, part of the Virgo personality. So it could be well-rested, healed, mellow, chill, down for whatever, getting your ducks in a row. Others of you, it could be this idea of, I'm exhausted, I need some rest. So we'll see how that factors in here. So let's see. Venus is going to be moving through your second house when it moves into Libra. And that has to do with things related to money, which is nice. It could present small gifts or small bonuses to you. There is a need to connect, so possibly connecting and meeting with people involving your money, your finances. Maybe that's your boss, maybe that's your accountant, maybe that's your lawyer. But the second house here also has to do with how we value ourselves and frequently our body image and how we value ourselves. And Venus being a planet of beauty and value, creativity, aesthetic, the arts, you may sort of... I'm almost getting the idea of reinvent yourself, but in a more apparent way, sort of like the physical, the outer. Like if this is internal, this to me is maybe more external. And also just appreciating, finding beauty in what is around you. There may be some sort of creative project that you're able to make money off of if that interests you, right? You certainly don't have to. But you may take up singing or painting or pottery or something, and maybe you sell your stuff on Etsy. I don't know. Establishing some sort of new beauty routine for yourself, or maybe styling your hair a different way, or maybe you're getting a tattoo, something that, again, like physical appearance with Venus coming through here. You may be more cognizant of your sugar intake as well. Venus can rule like sweets and food in general. There may be more of a focus on food and sort of needing to determine what it's doing to your body and is it helpful. You may have discovered some sort of allergy or some sort of sensitivity to a certain type of food, where towards the end of the month you may start to remove it, if that makes sense. When Venus conjuncts the South Node, there's a need to give up something that possibly brought you pleasure, but ultimately there's an ending coming to something that with the Tower here could be rather shocking. I'm not sure what this is yet. I could see this being a couple different things. So I almost want to say let's go back to that and see. I do sense that some of you may be giving up possibly some sort of material item that you have in your home. You might be selling it to make room for something else. And it could be a positive tower and that you're surprised how much money you get for it. Others of you, if there has been this ongoing process of food elimination and trying to figure out what doesn't work for you, the results of what's actually causing maybe a disruption in your body could be quite shocking. And it's like, oh my God, I was taking this supplement and I thought it was good for me. And now all of a sudden the doctor's saying that doesn't agree with me. You know what I mean? I don't do medical readings, but bear with me here. So there could be that release of something you're eating or ingesting. Others of you, there may be sort of this revelation about some sort of ritual or habit of how you make yourself up and how you present yourself, almost in a way where it's become, this is a weird way of expressing it, but like people pleasing. Like if I don't do my hair, what are other people going to say about me? Or if I don't wear this to work, people may look down on me or whatever. Some of you are giving up some sort of aesthetic choice because it's no longer in alignment with who you are and how you want to present yourself. It had more, I don't know if this makes sense, but it was like catering to other people to make them more comfortable with how you look. And so for some of you, it could even be sort of, I don't know if it's like a physical disability or something maybe you're just self-conscious of. Maybe you feel like you have big ears and so you would always style your hair so that it didn't show. You kind of have this, I'm wearing my hair up in a ponytail and my ears are going to show and people are just going to have to deal with it. That, I know that's like a very specific example, but it is kind of that like I'm changing I'm changing some sort of physical appearance because it no longer serves me. I'm letting go of it, and it's probably for a very good reason. Trust that the universe is having you let go of something for a reason. Now, there could be gains in money, but there could also be an unexpected loss of money. Let's look at that a little bit closer. I think you may have a coworker who decides to leave, and it may put more pressure and responsibility on you. Yeah, that's sort of what I see in terms of some unexpected loss. You may have a coworker that decides to leave. Let me look at this a little bit more. Yeah, okay. For most of you, I see you having to give up something for your health that is actually going to really improve your life. That's honestly what I think this tower is. For most of you, I don't think it's loss of money. I think it's giving something up that isn't necessarily good for you, but it might be something that's very like comforting or familiar. Okay, moving on. So you're going to have a new moon in your third house. So there could be some sort of new project or undertaking or endeavor involving study or research or schooling. There might be a nice time to reestablish a connection with a sibling that maybe you've been at a distance from, or open up lines of communication. Your sibling may share some sort of important news with you, a sibling or a cousin or a neighbor, someone in kind of like your immediate area or territory. There could be some sort of expression or news of illness that someone is kind of stepping up to share with you, or if it's not illness, they're just going through some sort of tough time financially. I don't know. And so there is going to be a tricky aspect here in terms of, I actually think there might be I'm all over the place. Apologies, Virgo. There could be some sort of fun writing project that you're working on. You might be writing an article or, again, research, but something to do with writing. It could just be for fun. It could be, a book of poems or writing a children's book or spending more time reading your favorite literature. Something about that feels very positive and kind of like hey, that's cool. There also is going to be an intense aspect in the sky around November 11th or November 10th, give or take, where Mars, the planet of fiery, passionate energy, which can also be very sharp and severing, and it likes to cut off and be independent and do its own thing, and kind of be that trailblazing go-get-em attitude. That energy is going to oppose Uranus in, let's see, is it your ninth house? Yeah, your ninth house. So when you Uranus is a planet that essentially wants to be free. It wants to break away, it wants to reform, it wants to change, it wants to innovate, it wants to shake things up, and it wants to wake people up. So when those two planet energies combine, there can be kind of this metaphorically combustible, kind of explosive confrontation, maybe. In opposition, it frequently has to do with us versus, the other. So that could be the other in terms of a job. Very likely something with a teacher or a professor. Unexpected news where you have to go back to the drawing board, or could also be some sort of legal issue that you're going through. With the Five of Pentacles, it's taking its toll. And I sort of have been cautioning all the signs, because everyone's experiencing this, not just you, Virgo. You want to be careful with how you approach this person or this situation. As much as you can, you want to use tact and, be thoughtful with your words, and be thoughtful with the emotions you're feeling and how you're processing them. But ultimately, whatever this is that's happening for you, it is going to shake things up and allow for some much needed change that needs to happen. But it's almost like addressing the elephant in the room, that like, we just can't keep going on like this. It's not working anymore. Again, that could be with a mentor or a professor, someone you seek wisdom or guidance from. There could be some unexpected changes to travel plans as well. I would be very cautious of getting your car looked at, getting your car repaired, especially if you know that that's something that you've needed to do and haven't done. This could very much result in your engine just going kaput, and you're on your way to work and now you don't have a car. It could be that type of, there is something very unexpected and unpredictable with Uranus energy. So as much as I'm trying to predict it, set yourself up for success as much as you can. Have a plan B, even have a plan C. But yeah, this could be some sort of confrontation with a sibling that ultimately will clear the air. But it's not going to be the most pleasant energy initially. It's something that you're going to have to work on and build on, but I do think it's very needed in terms of, again, addressing the thing that just, it can't be put off any longer. A confrontation about money, especially with a sibling or a cousin, a family member, if someone has been lending money and the other person hasn't been able to pay them back, or dodging that sort of uncomfortable situation, you might just need to clear the air. And maybe cut this person off financially, if, not because you don't love them and you don't want to help them. It's just everybody has their limits. Some of you may be living with a sibling and you're kind of like, okay, time for you to fly the nest now. Those are just a couple of examples. Let's see. There could be how do I want to look into this? Yeah, there's a chance for you to collaborate with possibly a coworker on some sort of creative project that could really change the game in terms of your path and your trajectory career-wise, professionally. There could even be a side hobby or a side hustle that ends up becoming your main source of income. I'm sort of getting the idea of make it rain. Like something that's just kind of been on the back burner, or kind of going on in the background, but not really been in the main spotlight. Something about that may change, in which case something that brings you a lot of pleasure and enjoyment, you may be able to monetize. Or some sort of health routine, you may start to really see the benefits of it in the coming month or so, and it further motivates and inspires you to keep kicking ass. I don't know why this is coming through, but for some of you, a pet may go missing or stray from home, or something about a missing pet. If that's not you, it could be something, again, in your sibling's life, in your family's life, in your partner's life. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but And I want to immediately go to what message can I comfort you with? But I don't know. It's being opposed by the Three of Swords. So there could be some sort of, I don't know, a loss of something where it creates some sort of hole in your life. There's going to be a need to adapt and get comfortable with something that changes. And I don't do fear-based messages, really. That's really not what this is about. But I don't know why. Something about that message wanted to come through. Yeah, very interesting. I feel like this is very spiritual, and I know not all of you are going to be on board with this. But I almost feel like this, let's just say a cat went missing and whatever. I don't mean that insensitively. I don't know. Let's say a cat goes missing. It's almost like you keep thinking you see it in certain places, or you're getting signs and messages from like the divine, from a higher power, of things that remind you of this pet. But it almost becomes this sort of treasure map. It almost becomes this confirmation on your path forward that like you're in the right place at the right time. The messages or the things that bring back memories of this pet or this animal serve as a comfort to you, and may inspire something in your career at some point, but that message is a little bit unclear to me, so I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. Some of you may end up dating a Sagittarius, or coming to some sort of peace agreement with someone that maybe you've struggled with. There could be a difference of opinion on money with a dating prospect. You could connect with someone who, I feel like other people in your life right now, Virgo, are not doing great and almost seeking your wisdom and advice and guidance and support to help pull them through. It's not necessarily by necessity that you have to help them. It just kind of becomes this thing that you find yourself doing and realizing just how good you are at serving other people in times of crisis. It's like a skill that you naturally have, and you're able to like very much, nose to the grindstone. Okay, I'm going to help you. Let me do your laundry. Let me grab some groceries for you. Like, I got you. It's very much like, I'm your partner in crime. I'm your co-pilot. Like, yeah, it's just this, like, I am a loyal friend. I am devoted to you. Like, we're going to get through this together. Even if this is just like someone on the fringes of your life, you're able to like, yeah, just step up to the plate and help people during their times of need. It's like this really beautiful message. So there is going to be a full moon in your 10th house of career. And here you have devil energy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can be reaching some final culmination or completion or quote unquote graduation or high note. Something maybe involving a Capricorn. It very likely has to do with a boss. And so you may have achieved some sort of new position at work or some sort of new status at work. You may be recognized for a project or a presentation or a paper or something you do that is very public, that garners a lot of attention and accolades and praise, and it at minimum puts you at a very advantageous position to possibly seek more money, but gain more ground in terms of your work trajectory. You may be promoted. You may end up with some sort of supervisor role or leading some other project. With Capricorn energy, I actually really like it in the 10th house. That being said, it may put a lot of pressure on your romantic relationships or some other partnership that you have going on in your life. Because you have responsibility to both. It's very interesting in these two sectors. You have Saturn sitting in your 7th house of long-term partnership and relationships, one-to-one interactions, where there's a need to show up and be present and get serious and roll up your sleeves and do the hard work in order to achieve important milestones, in that path. And even if that's romantic relationships, it's requiring a lot more of your time and attention and work. Saturn wants you to work for it. It seems like there's something celebratory happening in your career path and again, public recognition. But with that, it may add further stress because they may be asking more of you because they know your capabilities. But your partner may also be like, hey, what about me? There could be kind of like an interesting conversation that needs to be had there, or I'm putting it mildly, an interesting conversation. There could be a confrontation with your partner of better work-life balance, particularly if you guys are trying to start a family or grow your family or do something that is just going to require more time and attention from you in a family unit or again in romantic partnerships. I do get the idea that, so for some of you may, and I don't think this is for all of you, honestly, it's kind of 50-50. There's a couple ways you could go. Some of you may not be able to fully immerse yourself in this new opportunity job-wise because you have responsibilities to your partner. Others of you may decide that if your partner isn't in full support of what you want to do in your career, you may decide to put more limitations and boundaries on this partnership. And I'm almost starting getting the idea of giving this person an ultimatum. Like, well, this is what's happening in my life, and I'd love for you to come on the ride with me. But ultimately, like, this is my path, and I happen to meet you at this point in my life. And I do sort of sense it's like, sorry, like you're with me or you're not. In which case, this Eight of Cups could end up resulting in this idea of something that emotionally supported me at one point in time no longer does. And so, I'm wearing this red coat of passion to go after the things I want to achieve and accomplish. I'm chasing after my own passions, but that may require you to cut or sever or adapt an important standing relationship in your life. And maybe it's not romantic, but for a lot of you it is. It could be that if you work on clients one-to-one and you have a client that continually comes back, and they're demanding more time, but again, you have this sort of conflict of people needing you everywhere, Virgo. You may have to tell this client, listen, it's been a pleasure working with you, but I no longer have the capacity and the bandwidth to see you in this way. Maybe it's even, your exercise coach or your trainer. It could be that kind of one-to-one relationship where you are having to make some sort of cuts or compromises and negotiations. But that might be challenging. So I just figured I would let you know. Let's see. I do think there might be an unexpected bill or an unexpected occurrence in the house that is requiring you to be honest, it almost feels like paying back money that you owe that you may have forgotten about. And okay, especially with this Eight of Cups, it's almost being shown to me in a funny way. You may have put something on a credit card and almost like a random credit card, like a Macy's card or something, and you forgot about it for several months or maybe even a year, and all of a sudden you get that letter in the mail where it's like the interest rate has escalated a bit. And I'm not saying this is make or break. This could be an overall relatively small bill, but I feel like you forgot about some sort of payment that you're like, okay, well, now I have to figure that out. So again, Saturn energy, there's a small period of, ooh, this is a little bit uncomfortable. This is not what I was, expecting, but, no such thing as a free lunch. It's like, you're going to have to pay this back. So you'll figure it out. But you may also end up seeking out a new financial advisor. There might be money going to projects of the home. You may be trying to split your time between some sort of work endeavor and moving houses or moving apartments or changing locations, maybe with your family, likely with a romantic prospect. And there's a lot of, again, strain and stress for back and forth of feeling like you're giving both people the time of day. With the Three of Swords coming up in your 12th house, I wouldn't ordinarily jump here because it doesn't seem super significant overall in the month of November, but I do think it's reminding you like you can't pour from an empty cup. So make sure you are taking care of your health, noting particularly things about your blood pressure, maybe your heart. Just if that has been something that has, that's not necessarily a new message, but I think it's saying you got to take care of yourself. You can't put yourself last like you frequently do, Virgo, because it's going to catch up with you. I think that's what this is saying, now that I'm looking at the overall story. You might be in need of some rest, taking some time out, being able to delegate, asking your partner to step in and help, asking your mother can you pick up the kids from daycare? Can you, take advantage of who's around you because there are people willing to help. In terms of dating and romance, I think I already mentioned maybe a Sagittarius may come into the mix, possibly a Cancerian. And I see this person being very lively and fun, maybe taking you to a concert or going something kind of glitzy and glamoury. I don't really know what this is, but I'm almost getting the idea of going to a fashion show or something that's kind of highfalutin people. I don't know if you're into that per se, but I think you're into it because it's just this new experience you haven't had. Some of you may even be going to I don't know why I'm getting this so specifically, but a wrestling match, one of those WWE, again, kind of actors putting on performances, like a wrestling thing. I don't know why I'm getting that, Virgo. I just am. Not saying you have to, but you may end up dating or connecting with someone who's super into that. This person could become a good gym buddy of yours, a good exercise exercise buddy. You may do a lot of physical activity together. Double Sagittarian energy here, which would be an interesting combination. So just putting that out there. But to be honest, I like it. I think you may end up being at a crossroads with this person. Again, there's this, I can only be so many places at once. And so you may have to have a conversation. I think this is going to trigger you in a way where you don't like letting people down. But this is a very good thing for you to experience and go through, because you're being asked to directly approach a situation and ask for what you need, without necessarily caring or considering how your person's going to react, because you just need it. And what I mean by that is like having to let someone down gently, like, hey, I really like hanging out with you, but I can only see you every other weekend because my life is just too crazy. So it's not that you're doing it out of I don't like them or I don't want to be with them. It's knowing and respecting your limits and being able to share with your person, very authentically and truthfully and transparently what you need. And also not being overly catering to, well, how are they going to react? And okay, well, maybe I can see you twice a week. And like trying to fix it to make it work. It's like you need to make it work for you and the rest will fall into place. And I do really like that. I have to be honest too. I don't always see this in readings, but I almost see this idea of connecting with someone at a time where there's just a lot going on, but it's almost like planting the seeds for this to grow into something in the future. This may even happen for you in terms of reconnecting with someone who maybe you went on a date or two and then it kind of fizzled or tapered off, for no major dramatic reason. You may end up reconnecting with someone being like, hey, let's try this again. And then you're in a better place to actually make it work. You guys are both at a place in life where you have time to date and feed this connection and give it the time and attention that it deserves. For a lot of you Virgos, I don't know if that's going to be the month of November, but be open to meeting people and connecting with people, knowing that they may come back around. I almost see this as the Eight of Cups in terms of going into a house of endings, like starting off something nice and then having to push pause, but then communication and movement towards this partnership in order to heal it or bring it back to life, to like breathe new life into it. That may come back around, maybe in Sagittarius season, possibly, but more likely in Pisces season. That would make sense too. All right, which for those who are wanting to know, let's see, Pisces season would be, I think, late February into mid-March-ish. That might be a key time to revisit partnerships and connections that you're interested in. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you very soon for more tarot. Bye, Virgo.